Record. Okay, cool. So thank you guys so much for hopping on our Team Tubby to Toned Monday night team call. It's April 27th. I'm Kelly Hanner, leader of our team. Tonight what we're going to discuss is I'm going to share a little bit about the Success Club trip that I just went on to Cancun, which was absolutely awesome. I'm just going to touch on that a little bit because I really think that what I could say about it just doesn't do it justice, because it's something that you absolutely need to experience yourself. But I'm going to dive into that a little bit, and then I'm going to discuss 10 mistakes that I've made that I want you to learn from, or just take in, understand that it'll happen to you too. So first things, tonight we're not also going to have any recognition on this call because I just didn't get a chance to record all the information from that, so sorry about that, but we'll get back to that next week. Anyway though, so I just got back from the Success Club trip to Cancun. It was a 4-night venture. I got to go for free. Thanks to Beachbody. I earned it through my Success Club points from last year. And then not only that, but I earned $750 to spend at the resort thanks to Beachbody and thanks to my consistency with hitting Success Club throughout 2014. So I want to share that, if you want to make this something that just explodes, if you want to meet the other coaches, be surrounded by positive, awesome people, if you want to take your business from the first level to the next, going to events, whether that be a Super Saturday or some kind of meetup, anything like that, but going to the bigger events, that is going to build your business unlike anything you could ever imagine. And also, I said I didn't want to get too in-depth into it because I want you to experience it for yourself. So I encourage you, if you're not on the waiting list for the Success Club cruise on the Royal Caribbean Allure of the Seas for next year, where we're going to Haiti and Jamaica, there's going to be a lot of us on that cruise. And I don't want you to miss out. This is something that you absolutely need to experience firsthand. And Beachbody, if you have children, Beachbody is very accommodating to children. You can always bring your kids on the ship. If there's a will, there's a way. So you can bring your kids. I've seen people in the past bring their parents to babysit the kids while on the trip. It's awesome that you can do that thanks to Beachbody. So if you're not registered and on the waiting list for the cruise or for Summit or for anything, get yourself on that list. So as promised, I want to talk about the mistakes that I personally have made as a coach. And a lot of these have to deal with when I first got started. So time and time again, you're going to hear me say, my first number one mistake. My first number one mistake was not pursuing and being serious about the business when I first got started. Like I said, this is a broken record. This is something you probably hear me mention all the time. But I want to reiterate for you that, it took me a year and a half to really get into this. So I've only been working the business 3.5 years, and I'm 5 years in. There are coaches, and I don't want to compare myself, and I don't want you to compare your journey either, but I use this as inspiration and a teaching tool to emphasize to you guys what is possible. I see coaches who have gotten started right out of the gate, coaches on our team, other coaches all along this business who got started right when they got going. And they're doing astronomical. They've helped a lot of people. They have huge teams where they've helped a lot of people have crazy, absolutely amazing financial success. And they've gotten themselves out of financial just horrid. There are so many people who have done something with Beachbody who were absolutely in the trenches and they didn't see any solution, and Beachbody was their solution. So I only wish I would have gotten started right from the beginning and made a consistent, deliberate, honest effort and a professional effort with this. But I didn't. So that is my first mistake. You'll hear it always. So mistake number two. Mistake number two was not being a professional when reaching out to people. So when I first got started, one of the things that kept me not pursuing this was, of course, my maturity level, for one. I wasn't mature. I wasn't, we have freaking Carolyn on this call right now. She's 23 years old, and she's doing just crazy stuff with this. And I would have never thought to have that kind of maturity level when I was 23. So, I was 23 years old, and I didn't take it seriously. I didn't take the time to learn how to be a professional with this. So what I ended up doing was I would blast people. I wouldn't follow scripts because, to be honest, I didn't know scripts even existed, and my upline didn't really pass down any to me. But I didn't take the time to even try to look into people and different resources and be the own CEO of my business and do the kind of research necessary to find what I needed to know. So when I was reaching out to people, let me just show you. Share screen right here. See if I can get this up. Give me 1 second. Okay. All right. So I'm going to show you a conversation I had with somebody when I first got, okay, great. Here we go. So this is a guy who he had been looking for a job. This is back in 2012 in March. So I was like 2 years in, or no, I'm somewhere around 2, but I still wasn't taking it seriously enough, and I didn't follow scripts or anything. But I had posted up that my ex-boyfriend's job was looking for somebody to hire. So I was creating an ad on Facebook about that. This kid, Jake, reached out to me, curious about it, and I kind of turned it back around on him, like trying to get him into Beachbody. So he asked for more information about it, and eventually what you see here is I just vomited absolutely so much to him, and you don't even see that I took the time to really get to speak to him and know him, and I did this over the internet. My preferred method to talk to people about coaching now is to set up a phone call with them and to discuss it with them. But instead you see that I just took the whereabouts about me to just vomit information. I sent him a recording about what coaching was all about, sent him all this kind of information, and just totally word vomited. And it turned out he wasn't interested. He kind of abandoned the conversation. I tried to bring it back up, but the conversation was dead in the water. So, take the time to be a professional when reaching out to people. Form people. Get to understand them. Take the conversation to the phone. Practice. Contact your star diamond upline or your upline. Contact them and do a one-on-one mock call with them. If I'm that person, do a mock call with me. But you need to practice. You don't go and deliver a speech to a college course, one that you paid for. You don't go into that speech without practicing somewhat, without creating up your own notes, having some kind of preparation behind it. So if you are going to expect yourself to be a professional with this, set yourself up to be a professional. Practice. If getting on the phone with people is a fear of yours, contact your upline and ask them if they could go through a mock run through where they run you through the interview and then you run them through the interview and they critique it for you. So my third mistake as a coach was not attending events. So for the longest time, I did not go to events because of a few reasons. I didn't have the maturity level like I mentioned. I was too worried about going to an event on a Saturday morning thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to have a hangover. I'm not going to want to be around all these people. And then 3, just to be totally honest, and then 3 is I still kind of I wasn't sold on Beachbody. I kind of thought this was kind of potentially like a cultish thing, like a bunch of people getting together, rah, 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 sis kumbaya, like that kind of thing. And so I turned my nose up to it. So I never attended events. My upline, when she was active at the time, she would invite me. She would message me, text message me. I mean, for a while, she just gave up on me. But, she would come back around every once in a while, trying to revive me, trying to get me to go to events. And still, I just wasn't at that level. Then when I finally was ready to take this seriously, I saw other coaches like Tommy Migrant, Meg Wiksinski, who's now Meg Klazowski. I saw them posting about going to events, and I saw Tommy not only posting about hosting his own Super Saturday, but going to things like Danny Johnson and different enriching personal development events. I finally contacted Tommy and I was like, hey, I need to make this happen. I see you, I see Meg, I see all of these people having success. What do I have to do? He told me I needed to get to events. So he told me Danny Johnson was just absolute paramount. And then he told me I needed to go to a Super Saturday event of his. Finally, I made it happen. My boyfriend and I, we went. We checked out Tommy. We heard Tommy speak. I don't know if you guys saw that Tommy Migrant call between him and Team Boom, but Tommy Migrant is phenomenal. He's like a really awesome football coach. Like, he just carries a cool confidence level about him, and he's a hype man. He amps you up. He explains stuff to you in a way where you're like, holy crap, this all makes sense. I need to focus. I need to do what this guy is telling me. So when I went to that first event, that was a game changer because I built the belief in it. I saw that people from Beachbody, the coaches who took it seriously, weren't all just a bunch of like cultish freaks. I decided that it was worth it to cut drinking on Friday evening so I could show up sober on Saturday. So I got there. I built the belief. I saw what could happen, and I built to the next level with my potential on this business. So number 3, the third mistake was not attending events. So get yourself to events in any way, shape, or form. Super Saturdays, summits, super success club trips, all of that stuff. My fourth mistake was I would get offended. So I would take no's and rejections personally. So those of you who I can see, raise your hand up high if you've been offended when somebody's told you no. You think, oh, why me? Oh, why aren't they responding to me? What did I do? Right? I've been there. I've done that. I've taken all that personally. So understand that no's and rejections are not personal. They're not turning you down. They're turning themselves down. I mean, if you follow the script, you are learning from these people like hardcore reasons why they should say yes to their health and they should say yes to this. I mean, I've had a woman tell me that she's in anxiety. She has a hard time being around her children. She can't pick them up. She can't play with them. All of this crazy stuff. And then when you go to close, she tells me, oh, well, I'm sorry. I really can't do this. I can't afford this. Could you not afford to have a better life for your children? I think if you guys are on this call, you would agree that you might find the necessary means to make it happen. I know a lot of people do. I know a lot of people will sell stuff. They'll go ahead and get rid of old video games, just junk that they don't use, clothes, anything. So it's not that they're saying no to you necessarily. It's that they're saying no to themselves. They don't trust themselves to do this because chances are with the way the weight loss industry is, they've already pumped a lot of money into the weight loss industry. So this is one more fad, one more thing that they think, oh crap, I'm just going to suck at this too. And so they're afraid because of the higher price tag, which is no doubt reasonable when you consider all of the value behind what they get. They're just afraid. So you need to continue to show consistency with your business in the form of not forgetting to post consistently because people are watching you. They're taking in whether you are being consistent because sure, it might not necessarily be all about you, why people are telling you no, but I can tell you what, it doesn't not not help, being consistent. Because if they see that you're consistent with yourself, they understand that you'll be consistent with them, that you'll be there. And, people often fail themselves. So they're afraid that somebody else is going to fail them too, right? So don't get offended. Don't take things personally when it comes to coaching. Just be consistent with your posts and be consistent with the follow-up. Can't tell you how many times I've talked to several people who are on this call tonight, and it took me multiple times in order to either get them on a challenge pack or into the coaching opportunity. So this isn't a get rich quick. This takes time. This takes building relationships. Okay, number 5. So my mistake here was thinking that other coaches who I added to my team wanted it as badly as I did. So Jim Rohn has this awesome philosophy of loving people where they're at, which is cool. It's a concept that doesn't really get talked about too often. But, you got to love people where they're at. A lot of times you're talking to people, you're talking to the woman who has anxiety, or you're talking to your best friend who is about 100 pounds overweight and you just want better health for them. You're talking to anybody and you want it more for them. You're talking to somebody, or you have somebody on your team who's a coach, and you're trying to drag them around. You're trying to get them, you're trying to revive them. They're a dead fish in water. They said that they were going to do X, Y, and Z. And then they realized it wasn't as easy as, they had hoped it would be. Nothing in life, especially something this spectacular, is going to be easy. But with consistency, longevity, it's inevitable that you will have success with this. But you need to understand that you are going to take people onto your team who are going to fall off. You're going to have that, and that's just because they're not ready. So you need to love them where they're at. So you might be somebody who's just balls to the walls running towards the finish line, and you have somebody who's like skipping around. They're hopscotching, or what is it? Hopscotching? It's hopscotching. They're hopscotching and jumping around and just freaking prancing their way to the finish line. Or maybe they're just kind of at a snail's pace. So you just need to love those people where they're at, be there for them if and when they're ready, and understand that your drive and determination isn't everybody else's. You can do what you can to attract those kind of people to your business, but when push comes to shove, sometimes it just doesn't add up. And keep in mind too, I was a discount coach for 1.5 years. I had given it a shot and I sucked. I didn't take it professionally or seriously, and I sat around as a discount coach for a while. But I eventually came around. So also don't discount the discount coach. Keep in mind, even if you have no coaches right now, I want you to remember that. Keep in mind that people will come around eventually, but you do have to maintain a relationship. And also don't feel like you have to drag people around. If you have somebody who's a discount coach on your team, don't feel like you need to pull them up behind you. Just occasional, check-in once a month, every other month, seeing how they're doing. If they're cool, just let it go. But keeping that contact with them is vital. All right, so number 6, my 6th mistake was not doing personal development. So this is where my ego comes in again. So I didn't do personal development because I watched TV, and just the way you see, like on some TV shows, it's portrayed that if somebody goes to like a personal development seminar or something, it kind of comes off cultish, right? I've even seen like stories on TV where like people who have done the Anthony Robbins fire walk, over fire and charcoal, who have burnt their feet. And whenever I watch that kind of stuff with my parents, they just disregarded those people. Oh, those people are a bunch of morons, And so that rubbed off on me. I looked at personal development and all that kind of stuff as moronic. But personal development is important for building the confidence and building the skill set to take you from somebody who is just kind of mediocre to somebody who is a professional. And be honest, there's always room for growth, and you need to put yourself in a growth atmosphere. So also, not doing personal development was a mistake of mine, but not putting myself in an area that was a growth atmosphere that promoted growth, being surrounded by negative people, being surrounded by people who look down on personal development, people who didn't want me to push to the next level, people who try to keep me down, try to keep me at that partying stage, and kind of look down upon me for trying to better myself. That includes friends and family. When you're in an environment that is not a growth atmosphere, that's holding you back. And I even had to make some cuts with my close-knit family in order to advance myself. Now, I say that because I want you to know, if you're experiencing that yourself, that is something sometimes that needs to be done. Sometimes you have family members that it's just when you come close to them, you feel this just weight on your shoulders, this pressure. Now, I know that's not the case for a lot of people, but some people, your friends and your family, are going to be the people who create that emotional pressure over you. And you need to understand that you have to make those cuts sometimes in order to not only preserve yourself, preserve yourself for the business. Okay, that's cool. But to preserve yourself for everything, you need to be very protective over your energy and who you allow to penetrate that field. So don't let people who are going to belittle your efforts, belittle your dreams, be a fog for you. So number 7, my 7th mistake was losing sight of helping my team. So last year, I started going from 0 to 600, when it came to growing my Instagram account. I was growing my Instagram account at the same time I was doing featuring, and at the same time, I was recruiting 8 to 10 coaches a month, which ended up resulting in over 120 coaches within a year, 120 plus. While doing that, though, what happened was I kind of abandoned my coaches. And this is something that, of course, is a regret of mine, but it's a learning experience for you to understand. That in the pursuit of reaching your own goals, your own dreams, hitting your Success Club points, getting to that rank advancement or whatever, don't leave behind the people who are going to inevitably be your foundation for your business. Don't leave those people behind in that pursuit. Last year I kind of left April, Corey, Brooke, my cousin Sherry, just kind of left them out. Sayonara, you guys build your business and I'm going to just focus on reaching my goal. And thankfully, they grabbed the wheel and they were leaders and they still advanced their business with me kind of just leaving them out, not spending one-on-one time with them, not recognizing their leadership and not trying to help them get to the next stage in their business. Instead, I was too consumed with trying to hit 5-star. I want you to know that your goals with this business are going to happen as a result of the people on your team who you help, who truly want the help. So if you naturally help them hit their goals, it's just natural that your goals are going to happen. So don't leave behind the people who are your foundation for your business. Help the ones that want the help. But in your pursuit for trying to hit Success Club, don't forget that these Success Club points are human beings. That the people you're adding to your team are human beings who need and deserve your help. So as a leader, recognize that in order to grow, you need to grow your team and not just leave them out in left field, fending for themselves. That's a tough one for me to admit, but it's an important one for you to understand, because with this business, it's so driven towards rank advancements and hitting Success Club that we can lose sight of the people that are a reason for doing this. So keep all of that in mind. My 8th mistake was not being totally transparent. So once I started to take this seriously, I was nervous to share my story, or I was nervous to share and have transparency. I didn't share my story until I got back from my first summit in Las Vegas. It was Tommy Migrant, who I had seen before at Super Saturdays, but he got up on stage and he shared the inner depths of his secret, which were pretty shocking, especially, for a man to stand on stage and admit what he admitted. That drove me to share my story. But before sharing my story and before being real about my story, I wasn't having much success because I wasn't connecting with people. I was just kind of putting on this show that, I'm working out and I'm eating healthy and I'm drinking shakes. But I didn't give people something to chew on and to chew on regularly, to share bits of my story once a week. You don't have to just completely open up your closet and let all your skeletons out. But know that by sharing your story on a consistent basis, being transparent about different angles of your story, and not only that, but also being transparent about the day-to-day activities of your journey that are holding you back. For instance, when you slack, when you're not posting, when you're not doing your workouts, that is the most important time for you to share, because that's so relatable for people. When people understand that you've fallen off track, that's when they're going to connect the most with you. Something that I have yet to share, which is recently going on for me, is I, ever since, this big move, I have had episodes where I feel like, that inner voice of my eating disorder comes back, and it's taken a lot in me to try to hold that back, to try to keep that back. And so that's something that I need to be transparent about. And I not only need to share that with you guys, but I need to share that with the people who follow me too, because to let them understand, that you're not in this alone, that this isn't something that's easy. But through holding myself accountable, through doing personal development, through having people that look up to me and just everything else, that is something that is going to not only help you, it's like a therapy session if you angle it in a heroic way instead of just a victimized way. But it's not only going to help you, it's going to help the people that you truly want to help as well. So be transparent with your audience when you fall off, when you have episodes where things are coming back. Because, people need to know if you want to have a successful business. They need to see the transparent and the real side of you. Number 9, my mistake was not having a schedule to go by. So with that, I would just kind of post whatever I wanted on Instagram, whatever I wanted on Facebook. I wouldn't really have a set schedule to my day. And that got me nowhere, because what would happen then is I would look at posting on my Instagram, posting on my Facebook, or the task I have to do for the day, and it's a guessing game. I would think, oh my gosh, and I'd sit around for like 10 to 15 minutes wondering, okay, what should I post on Instagram? What should I post on Facebook? And then what from my list, or what from the list that's in my head that I never put on paper do I need to do? And that wastes a lot of time, especially when you are somebody who doesn't have a lot of time to waste. So create a schedule for yourself, on a piece of paper or on a calendar. Write down that every Monday on Instagram or Facebook, you're going to put up a fitness post that kind of relates to your story, or you're sharing some kind of struggle within your story. Say on Tuesday, you're going to put up a transformation from yourself or somebody from our team. Wednesday, post something within your target market. Just create a schedule for yourself. And then as well, something that's helped me immensely is I don't have a schedule where I say, okay, at 9 o'clock, I'm going to do this. 10 o'clock, I'm doing this. Maybe that might help me have a little bit more direction, but I know through me personally, we're not all black and white. Everything that I do goes for you. But I know it goes for me. What's easiest for me is I create a must-do list instead of a to-do list. And I write most important things that need to get done and out of the way throughout my day at the very top. They're my frogs I need to eat. And then throughout the rest of the day, I have a list so that I know once I cross something off, I'm to go on to the next item on that list. So that's how I kind of keep track over my day. Now, if you need to have a schedule or some kind of, I know I've worked like that before, some kind of schedule to go by, an hourly schedule, more power to you. The only bit of time that I keep track of within my day is when I'm supposed to talk to coaches or I'm supposed to have, a coach prospect call. And then everything else works around that. So that's my schedule. And so don't fall into the trap of, oh my gosh, I have no time to run this business. You have plenty of time. You just need to be smart with your time and delegate your time out and know what you're going to do throughout your day. So number 10 is comparing myself to other leaders. So comparison is the thief of all joy. It's an awesome quote, and it's totally true. When you're comparing yourself to other coaches, which is something I've done, and I used to do a lot of before I started really focusing on personal development. When I was focusing on what they were doing and comparing, the only thing that did was backtrack me. That didn't propel me forward because I was spending energy focusing on their success and getting a little pissy about it, looking at their success and thinking, and creating some kind of stupid excuse in my head. That didn't propel me. That wasn't a solution to get me to go to the next level. That just spent energy where it didn't need to be spent. So what I encourage you to do is when you start letting yourself compare yourself to another coach, congratulate them in your head or congratulate them out loud. Because it is not an awesome thing to look down on somebody else's achievements and not look at it in a positive manner, because that's only going to keep you from not having that kind of success yourself. But what you need to do is congratulate them, look at them positively for the success that they've had, and find your best way possible to duplicate their success in your own way. If you need to reach out to that coach, go for it. Reach out to them. Say, hey, I really admire what you just achieved. How was it that you were able to take it to that next level? Be okay with stepping outside of yourself and reaching out to other coaches. You would be absolutely surprised at what the coaches will do if you just reach out to them and you show them a little respect. If you edify them, contact them and say, hey, I really truly admire what you've done. I think you're incredible. You're somebody I really look up to. How did you do it? Who is going to want to say, wow, I don't want to share this with you? They're going to do whatever they can because you complimented their flowers. By complimenting their flowers, they're going to be more inclined to say, okay, cool, I'd love to share with you. Now that's a solution to comparison. I'm going to take just, of the people who are present and showing their lovely faces, who is guilty of comparison? I want to see all of you. Comparison, guilty of comparison? Okay, so just about everybody that is here. So I can imagine that it's everybody who I can't see as well. Corey, yep, comparison. So when you look back on it, hindsight, what did it do for you? Honest answer. Did it get you anywhere? For those of you who say it didn't get you anywhere, another show of hands. Okay. So the solution here, yep, all right, Laura. The solution here then is look at those coaches and reach out to them. If not, stalk them a little bit. I mean, so many coaches have YouTube channels. They share secrets on those YouTube channels. Stalk them, find them in different resources. Do something so you can try to emulate their success in your own way. And take everything that you've learned from everybody and morph it into your own thing. Don't feel like you need to carbon copy everything else that anybody else has done in the past. Put your own spin and originality on it. Bonus. All right, so I have a few bonus mistakes that I also did. My first bonus mistake was not speaking to my target market. So instead, when I first really started getting into this, before I knew the concept of speaking to your target market, trying to attract your tribe, all of that, what I would do instead was I try to help everybody. I try to market to everybody like, hey, I want to help you and you and you. And if you have a pulse, I want to help you. Cool. Like we all want to help everybody. But the truth is there's plenty of people to go around to help. The thing that you need to do is you need to talk to a lot of people in order to find your tribe. You need to put yourself out there enough to find your tribe and reach out to people enough to find your tribe. But, trying to line up, if you have an arrow and you have like a bazillion ducks in front of you, let's say you're going to hunt one of these ducks down and shoot them. If you don't aim for any particular duck and there's 12 ducks flying around in the air, do you really think you're going to hit one? Answer's no, you're not. But what you will do is if you line it up and you connect, you make a focus on one duck, chances are you have a better shot of hitting that duck. So with your business, be sure who your target market is. You're not trying to help everybody and their brother. If somebody who isn't within your target market comes to you for help, that's cool. Help that person. But, be true to who your niche is. Be true to your tribe, your target market, and speak to those people. A lot of times, I think the hardest thing and the reason why people don't connect to their target market so much is because they're still afraid of not being themselves. They're still afraid of not sharing their truth with people, with being real on social media, sharing their story, trying to really connect with people in an authentic way that's true to you, and not being afraid that eventually you are going to ruffle feathers or you are going to have people who unfollow you. You need to understand that that's okay. So I think a lot of times people have a difficult time connecting with the people that they truly need to help, because they're trying to lessen themselves and make themselves smaller and water themselves down to appease more people and not offend or not have a differing opinion than other people. So the more you're true to yourself, the more you do your personal development, the more you're going to be comfortable with who you are and attracting your tribe. So the second, we can talk about that sometime. I have a couple of videos about how do you figure out who your target market is. Basically, look in the mirror. Your target market is yourself. My target market is about 25 to 40-year-olds who have had some kind of eating disorder in the past and who are working on becoming an entrepreneur and want to help people, or into fitness, into nutrition, into animals, into giving back, into traveling and doing humanitarian efforts. That's my target market. So your target market is who you are. Sorry, I ended up explaining even though I was going to show you a video. Anyway, so the second mistake, the bonus mistake, was not reaching out to anyone I would be butthurt if they signed up with somebody else with. So what that means is take a look at your list. Whether that be the actual paper list that you have or a computer copy list that you have, which I hope that you all have. So maybe not paying attention to that list. Or say, for instance, your Facebook or your yearbook. Those are your lists as well. So imagine you're scrolling through and you see that your best friend Sandra from college that you kind of lost touch with, and you've been too nervous about reaching out to her and kind of reestablishing a connection with her. Imagine you found out she was a coach. You were friends with her on Facebook. You were just too chicken shit to reach out to her. Now imagine how butthurt you would be. Sorry, there's kids in the background. I shouldn't say those words. But imagine how butthurt you would be if you found out she signed up with another coach. That was your best friend from college. That was somebody that you could be helping. That was somebody that you could be mentoring. Let's say she signs up with somebody and they kind of half butt the whole opportunity and they're not a really good coach, and now she's stuck with them. And then she has to wait 6 months in order to sign up to be a coach again, and it's just a big fiasco. So reach out to people that you would be absolutely butthurt if they signed up with a different coach, whether that be the fitness opportunity or the coaching opportunity. I've had this happen to me several times, and it sucks. Sucks big time. I had somebody who recently I found out he was a coach. He was following me on Facebook. He was liking all my stuff. And I never reached out to him thinking, oh, we never really had a connection and we were in different social circles in high school. It would just be weird. This kid probably would want nothing to do with Beachbody. And lo and behold, he was somebody's Emerald lead, which was what I was. And he signed up to be a coach like 6 months ago. And he has crazy max 30 results, and he takes it seriously. His wife is involved. She had crazy results. Had I just maybe reached out to him and not assumed, not stereotyped, or whatever it was that I did, maybe he could have been a gold ship on the team. I could be helping out somebody from my high school get healthy and get financially free. And for that, I'm butthurt over it. That sucks. So anybody that you have that you could be butthurt over, you need to be reaching out to those people. Okay, I got a couple more bonuses for you. So bonus number 3 is not taking care to cover my own butt. So what that basically means is all right, so you're not necessarily wanting to just focus rank. You need to be focused on building your team. But of course, I'd be stupid to say we do have a goal of building rank, of advancing our personal business as well. So you can get different team cycle bonuses, you can get quarterly bonuses, you can advance your life and have that financial freedom. But if you're working towards these things, you do need to understand fully and totally what the terms and conditions are for achieving these things. So if your goal is to go on the cruise, you need to understand what would happen if you didn't meet up to the terms, if you didn't end up covering your butt and watching and taking care of your business, basically. So what I mean by that, so I am a Success Club 10 Legend All-Star, which means that I've been in Success Club for more than 24 consecutive months. Now, my butt's a little chapped over that because I could be a Success Club 10 All-Star for about 36 months. Now, okay, that's an ego thing, I guess, 24 versus 36. I guess that doesn't really make a huge difference, but I could have more months under my belt had I have just been keeping on top of the terms and conditions towards being in Success Club. I went to a Danny Johnson event in November of 2012, I believe. And it was the end of the month. I had hit Success Club 8, and I was looking to hit Success Club 10. So I didn't have anybody who purchased anything from me. It was down to the wire. I contacted my mom. I was in Las Vegas, and I contacted my mom, who is 2 hours ahead in Ohio. And I said, hey, I would really love it. You haven't purchased a challenge package yet. I would really love it if you would purchase a challenge package so that I could hit this goal. So we ended up making it happen. She ended up purchasing a challenge package, but we were in Las Vegas, and she purchased the challenge package by midnight Las Vegas time. She needed to purchase the challenge package by midnight Eastern time. So we were 2 hours behind. I didn't realize it. I didn't realize it until a couple of days later when I saw that I got credited for the next month in December instead of November. I was so mad. I was so upset and frustrated with myself. So if you have goals that you want to achieve, if you know you want to hit Success Club every month, make sure that you have the volume, make sure that you have the points, make sure that you have every I dotted and every T crossed so that you too won't have this shock come over you when you realize that you fudged something up by accident. And then fourth and final, my fourth mistake was forgetting to own up to being a coach. So what's that mean? Well, a lot of times I would talk to people and I would reach out to people and they'd ask me how I was doing. And this was even not just reaching out to people for a Beachbody or to build a relationship, like this is me, Facebook was kind of relatively newer and this was just me adding friends that I haven't spoken with in a while and just reaching out to them. I was a coach at the time, but I was kind of doing the coach activities without actually having a focus as to, okay, what am I going to do after I do this? But I would reach out to people who I just recently started connecting with on Facebook after it was kind of newer and, more people would pop on and they'd ask what I'm doing. And I would never mention that I was a health and fitness coach. I would never mention that I was in Beachbody. Well, I don't really recommend saying, oh, hey, I'm a Beachbody coach. But like when people do ask you what you're doing, say, I'm a health and fitness coach. Toss that in there. When you are out and about, how many times are you asked, hey, what's going on? And you maybe haven't talked to this person in a while and you never think to say, oh, I'm a health and fitness coach and I've been doing that. Anybody guilty of that? You go out and you don't claim that you are a health and fitness coach when, you're just in a casual conversation. Mention it. It doesn't hurt. You're planting a seed. It could turn into them saying, wow, I could really use your help. And if you're a newer coach, I can understand why that's intimidating. But if you're also a newer coach, understand that you could say, I'd love to talk to you more about it. I'm newer and I don't necessarily know all the finer details. Do you mind if we connect on Facebook and I tell you more about it? Once I have a little bit more idea of what I'm doing here. You can say that. You can be transparent with people. And when doing that, that's probably the smartest way to go about it, even if you are more of a seasoned pro with coaching. Because then you can get the script in front of you if you don't remember the script in its entirety. And you can have that script in front of you and you can use that to go by. So mention you're a coach. Don't be ashamed. Don't keep it on the back burner. If you're the CEO of your business and you want this to pay like it is a 6 or 7 figure business, which, oh my gosh, guys, it totally can, then please don't be afraid to bring it up. And when people ask what is you're doing, don't be afraid to be transparent and say, hey, I'm still newer to this, or, I'm kind of busy, or I want to catch up and talk about you. How are you doing? I'll message you more info on Facebook, but how are you doing? Don't be afraid to say that kind of stuff. All right, so it's 8:53. I think I covered all of it. But, do any of you guys have any questions? Anybody? Now would be the time to ask, even if your pretty face isn't up on the screen. Okay. All right, so I will let you guys go. I won't keep you guys any longer. I appreciate every single one of you for being on the call. Oh, hold on. Oh, well, thank you. That means a lot, Kira. Thanks. But anyway, so I won't be on next week's call. And it looks like we may have Carolyn and maybe Nicole Carpenter teaming up on the next call. So please be here for them. Show them the same kind of respect that you would show me. I know that they would love your support. And I'm pretty confident in them bringing a really awesome call. So I hope you guys all have a wonderful evening. Thank you for being on the call, and the recording will be up soon. Night, guys. Love ya. Peace.